Shalom Shalum family. Watchman Yirmiyahu, Qadashayam of Yasharal. I'm sorry, I know I don't get time to put out a lot of content, but I just want to share a word. I've been watching the Golden Dawn really close ever since the Xmas break, which I went and looked, and it was officially with increased restriction on aerospace over Mar-a-Lago from December 26th through January 4th. So there was that span, whatever that comes out to be. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 10 days, but whatever it is. He kind of disappeared from public eye, so he could spend time with his family for Xmas and all that. And ever since that time, he's come out with a more intensified agenda and a lot of things escalating, from the Epstein files to dealing with Iran, just across the board. Okay, I'm going to try to show you guys some of what I was talking about. Let's see. Following the Xmas 2025 break, President Donald Trump engaged in an intense, multi-front, and highly combative communication strategy, utilizing social media for a fury of posts and taking a direct tone during official engagements. Key actions over 2025 holiday period include aggressive truth social campaign. Trump posted over 100 messages that include heavy attacks on radical left scum, a term he used to describe political opponents. He also had the video with Baruk and Michael, where they were depicted as something like in the jungle, the mighty jungle. Pretty crazy. Let's see what this is also saying. Epstein file political attacks. He addressed the release of government files related to Jeffrey Epstein, proclaiming that they would expose his political rivals as sleazebags who would soon have a lot of explaining to do. It's interesting too. I heard him say he was exonerated, even though his name is mentioned more than anyone else in the files. Let's see what else. Okay. And again, this is just for reference, guys. I'm watching this and discerning it as it's been going on. Controversial holiday messages instead of traditional, strictly unifying holiday greeting. He warned radical left elements that it might be their last MERY Xmas and continued to push false claims about 2020 election, contrasting public persona while maintaining a fiery social media presence. He also engaged in traditional holiday events such as participating in the NORAD Santa tracker calls, spending time at Mar-a-Lago, often alternating between the two. Military police focus during the period. He announced U.S. strikes against ISIS-linked militants in Nigeria, continued to campaign his administration economic record. Have all this stuff going on with ICE, all this stuff going on with Iran, with the naval and aircraft escalations in the area, and just a general tone of like the gloves have come off. That's been my discernment. That's what I'm seeing. What are you seeing? And then today they were saying that the Supreme Court has ruled that his tariffs are illegal. And then he came out and spoke on it, and basically he's not pulling any punches. He doubled down on the whole thing. Oh yeah, well, I'm pretty sure you guys made the wrong decision because I'm a great reading comprehension guy and I read it and I know what it says and you're wrong. But it doesn't matter, because we're just going to go now more aggressive and even raise more money. And in fact, we can even do, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the word was called embargoes. So he actually was coming out and saying the president has the ability to destroy economies around the world, but I can't charge a fee. I can't charge $1, but I can destroy their economy. And I'm telling you, all I've seen is increase in great and terrible things coming out of his mouth, boast-filled things. And then the reporters are like, does that mean so-and-so's invited to whatever? And he's like, I don't know. They're barely invited. I could care less.
On the Supreme Court justices who ruled against the policy, striking it down, are they still invited to your State of the Union next week? And will you speak with them?
They are invited, barely. Three are happily invited. No, they're barely invited. Honestly, I couldn't care less if they come, okay?
His attitude is increasingly like that towards other kings of the earth. I could care less.
Now, global leaders are gathering in Davos, Switzerland for the World Economic Forum's annual meeting. President Trump is expected to arrive tomorrow as his threat to take Greenland hangs over European leaders. For more on the existing rift between the White House and Europe over Greenland's future, we're joined once again in studio by CBS News senior foreign correspondent Holly Williams. Holly, good morning. What is the latest on this topic?
Good morning, Errol. Well, some in Europe call the president's threats against American allies economic blackmail. The Trump administration, though, claims it needs to take over Greenland because of Russian and Chinese threats in the Arctic.
We have to have it.
President Trump isn't backing down on his push to secure Greenland for the US. It's a message he'll likely take to Europe tomorrow at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland.
I've done more than any other American president for NATO by far. And we'll see how that goes. But Greenland is very important.
The truth is that America's NATO allies in Europe are angry and shocked.
We see this as unnecessary and irresponsible.
It is not easy when we wake up every morning to new threats.
Overnight, President Trump posted this image on social media. American diplomacy as we've never seen it before. In a telephone interview with NBC News Monday, President Trump said he would 100% follow through on threats to slap extra tariffs on 8 European nations next month, unless a deal is reached to sell the Arctic island to the US. When asked if he'd use force to seize Greenland, Trump responded no comment, in which Trump said he no longer has an obligation to think purely of peace, since he wasn't awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, falsely claiming the Norwegian government is responsible for choosing the recipients. Trump denied yesterday that his stance on Greenland is tied to that award.
No, I don't care about the Nobel.
So I'm just watching all this very, very closely. In fact, I thought he was going to make a play to say, yeah, the Democrats want to stack the court, but I just as well abolish it because it's corrupt. Ends up being some of his appointments went against him in this tariff ruling, but Alito, I'm sorry, I can't remember all the names now. If I could see the names, I could recall the names. It doesn't matter. Three of the Supreme Court justices made findings in his favor, but he's like, I don't think they even realize what they're doing. It's almost like, okay, well, they meant it for good to stop me, but they don't realize that it's even worse because now I'm going to be coming out hotter, heavier, harder. I can do more, and we have a solid legal ground for those things. Now there is no more question. They've eliminated that. I don't think they meant to do that, but they've eliminated that. It was making me think of the opposite of the scripture, where the scripture says the enemy means it for evil, but I'll use it for good. And now he's saying, well, they thought what they did was good, but they're going to see that it's worse. It's going to make it worse. I'm going to come out harder, heavier, faster, everything. Yahuwah is Tahu, always and forever. And Baruk Atah Yahuah for his love and his Assad, because without it, surely we would all perish. Evil is being unrestrained, and it's going off. And people may not agree with my understanding of when tribulation began or where we in the timeline, and that's okay. We all need to reason together and hear each other out. I do think that the time is increasingly short, and I think that Hashatan's little season is not after the millennial reign like is often decoded or understood from scriptures due to lying scribes, but it is at the end, and that it needed to be cut short, because if it wasn't for that, all flesh would perish. He will headhunt the true Qadashayam of Yasharal, and Yahusha HaMashiach will destroy him with the breath of his mouth. The spirit of Lucifer ruling and reigning from a throne over the entire world. Not just Babylon like Nimrod, and not just Mitzrayim like Pharaoh, but the entire New World Order, the beast system. Baruk Atah Yahuah. Shalom. By the power and will of Yahweh, Yahusha, the Messiah, the one who we love him because he first loved us, right? Because while we were yet enemies at enmity with the Most High, he humbled himself. He took on flesh. He took on the role of a servant. He lived a perfect, righteous, or Qadash life. He willingly laid his life down. No one took it from him. He bore our iniquities on his body. He was impaled on a tree.
He was in the tomb 3 days and he rose again in power, in sovereignty, in majesty, in all esteem. All esteem Yahusha. Yahusha comes in the name of the Father Yahuah. Baruk is he who comes in the name of the Most High.
Thank you so much for stopping by. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. You'll also find the email in the description of all YouTube videos. So send us a message, a praise report, a prayer request. Much love.